Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, ICN, for this opportunity, and Praveen ji for organizing such an elaborated event. I know Praveen ji for almost last 6 years now, and it's great to see that ICN is making such a progress. I know this time is very odd. I mean, I'm definitely standing in between you and lunch and try to keep it short, but informative as much as I can. Uh, the chlor-alkali industry is an industry which really has seen a huge change. And what I'll try to run you through all of you is the way the growth has happened and where this industry is going forward. I'll be covering some of the elements on industry overview and what I'll take you through later on in the emerging trends and what are the paradigm shifts which are happening. I come from a company called DCM Shriram Limited. It's one of the oldest industrial house in the country. Today we clock almost $1.4 billion of turnover, roughly $1.6 billion of market cap spread across various industry verticals. Chemicals, sugar, and agri-commodities are one of those verticals. Our founder, Sir Shriram, we carry the legacy of 130 years now, and he is first of so many things which has happened in India. He has been founding member of Reserve Bank of India. He set up Shriram Textile Mill and Complex, set up the SRCC, and you name it. In most of the Indian financial institution which we see today in government or in private, he had a role in it. Our values, we strongly believe in the I act on. We carry along an ethical business practice for almost 100 years now. Industry. If I look at the chlor-alkali industry, a lot of people say, it's a usual bulk chemical. It's almost 1% of the global chemical industry. We are talking about close to $70 billion of turnover coming from this industry worldwide. And not only that, this is an industry which is a critical building block across all the application on the consumer side and a B2B customer side. You name it, textile, be it paper, be it all other blending blocks, chlor-alkali plays a part in it. Right now, if I look at the global ecosystem, US is perhaps, China is perhaps the largest market, followed by US, and India has grown significantly. Today, we are almost 6% of the global market share. And a lot of this jump has happened in last 2 to 3 years. If I look at Indian ecosystem, perhaps this is the one industry which has clocked maximum investment in last 5 years. We are talking about a heavy capex cycle in chemical industry. The chlor-alkali industry alone has gone up from close to 3.5 million ton in 2014 or 15. Today we are sitting at close to 6 million ton. In one shot, we have replaced Japan and Germany in a global market share. Now, a lot of us talk about specialty chemical capexes and refinery. Now, within the bulk chemical, this is one segment which has clocked the maximum investment. And if I take account the capex announced, we would be touching close to 8 million ton, which is perhaps one of the largest investment this industry has seen in last 50 years. In terms of application, because a lot of question being asked that such a huge capacity expansion, where are the market? As an industry, we are very conscious of that our markets are growing in line with our capacity expansion. We are talking about paper, we are talking about textile, we are talking about alumina, we are talking about inorganic chemical, and all other bleaching and disinfectant industries. All of them are into a heavy capex mode. So this capacity expansion within the industry is very much timed the way all other consuming industry is also growing. Now there is one challenge in this industry, as all of know that we produce chlorine along with the caustic soda. And India is in very disadvantageous position because the biggest consumer of chlorine is PVC. India's share on the PVC as a chlorine downstream is still less than 10%. While globally it's 35%. And the biggest reason is we don't have feedstock. Whatever feedstock we need to make PVC, which is ethylene, is largely tied up with the polyethylene. And the previous panel was a really apt panel where we can really look at large refiners, PSUs, and the government institution to prioritize the ethylene for this industry as well. Rest all of this, the second largest downstream, which is isocyanate, India is still uncompetitive, the MDIs and TDIs, because we do not understand the phosgene chemistry to its depth. And this is one area where if we master it at a scale, we can definitely look at this sector coming up again as well. If I look at a path forward for this industry, there would be a lot of elements which we are looking at. One is the capacity addition, which I talked about. This industry has doubled in last 6 years, and definitely will go up another 30 to 40% in next 8 to 10 years. We are talking about strengthening export opportunity. This is one industry which was a net importer till 2017-18. Since 1920 onwards, this industry has become net exporter. So there is a contribution to the exchequer. We are looking at chlorine integration in a wider portfolio. This is post-COVID, there is a huge focus on a clean water and disinfectant industry. And now the chlorine is no longer just a mean to substitute in a downstream. This is one product can also be converted into value-added service portfolios. We are looking on energy efficiency. As you may know, caustic soda, the biggest raw material is a power. Close to 65% of the variable cost is power. Now, a lot of initiatives are happening to green this power by way of group captives, by way of putting up their own investment into solar hybrids. This is going to be the game changer for this industry. The last one is we are looking at actually B2B sales. This is where we are trying to augment our sales footprint. This is one industry, because of the scale, the digitalization will have a huge impact on the bottom line. And platforms like B2B sales, selling directly to the customer, helping customer to go greener into a value chain, are some of the examples where the platform can be developed. Now the question is, what are the emerging trend and paradigm shift? Now this industry, because of its scale, any change happens, has a huge contribution on the bottom line and ecological footprint as a whole. We are looking at technology adjustment on digitalization. We are looking at a new product and sustainable one, of course. We are also looking at solution provider this industry. A lot of us feel that bulk chemical is product out, and we are the price taker, and therefore we can only work on our cost. What this industry is now actively looking at as a service provider. And last one is, of course, the government policy and support. On the technology front, as you know, the caustic soda, the biggest equipment is electrolyzer. The electrochemical chemistry, which the previous panelists were talking about, is the heart of this production process. Now, what we are trying to do is to bring the advancement in this technology to reduce the energy consumption. It is coming from the zero gap electrolyzer, and now this electrolyzer is also mimicked in my green hydrogen generation. So this is one industry which completely complements the green hydrogen generation in future. We're also talking about alternate technology on ODC, which is mastered by ThyssenKrupp, where the power consumption goes by 30%. We're also looking for shift to renewable power. Of late, you might have heard some of the large chemical companies have invested into group captive to reduce the fossil footprint. Today, we jokingly say that caustic soda industry is actually utility industry, is not a chemical industry. Now, that image we want to change over the period of time. We're also looking at enhanced monitoring and process control. As you know, chlorine is one of the hazardous chemicals to move around. Unlike West, where a lot of chlorine moves in rail racks or pipelines, India is still close to 70% of the chlorine moves via road. And close to 40% of industrial accidents are actually contributed to the chlorine. So this is one area where actually the industry is working hard technologically to reduce those footprints. The other element is we are actually looking at is digitalization. RFIDs, of course, a lot of us will say RFID is pretty known and proven part, been in industry for last 10 years. But imagine if this gets added to the chlorine tonners, which are a very hazardous product to move, the chances are your traceability increase and occurability of the accident goes down by 20 to 25%. We are also looking at preventive and predictive maintenance. Close to 2 to 3% of the fixed cost of any large bulk chemical plant goes into R&M activity. Now, if this gets toned down, we can really save a lot of bottom line. And when I say bulk industry, we are talking about a plant and eco size of 2 lakh to 3 lakh tons. Imagine a 2 to 3% saving on a bottom line really change the whole cash flow situation. We are also looking at a real-time monitoring of our asset. as an industry, we import a huge amount of fossil fuel, and therefore those monitoring and logistic optimization can really help. Digital business platform, this is industry which is now called for a lot of product stewardship. So direct to customer is one new approach which is now being adopted a lot. Less of dealer dependence in this industry, so there is a direct ownership to the product which is coming in. And we are also trying to create a digital replica of the site. What it means that a large equipment like electrolyzers can be reviewed, maintained remotely by the tech suppliers sitting in Japan instead of coming in and taking a longer shutdowns. It also saves the cost, it improves your visibility, and there is a direct monitoring which is happening. One question, because the theme of this session is about new product and the greening. Now this is one industry, because it is a building block for rest of the other chemical industry, chances are this has a lot more opportunity to go green compared to any other industry. Now I can take few examples. Green PVC. The moment you do your power green and you source ethanol, so you can make ethanol to ethylene, use your green caustic, and you go completely green PVC. It has already started in Europe, couple of trials in US, and this is a one complete green value chain. We are also looking at epichlorohydrin. 2 plants are coming in India from glycerine route, which was historical propylene route. We are also looking at green chloromethane. Green ammonia is already on the card. At the same time, we are also looking at HPPOs, which is again a hydrogen peroxide-based technology. If you have a green power, you'll produce green hydrogen. And if you mix a propylene oxide, you're going to make a green HPPO, which is one of the largest polymer which you'll make in the country. So this is just a 20 to 30% of the portfolio coming out one way from the other caustic soda industry, which you can actually go green and see how much amount of bottom line saving you can achieve out of it. If I look at one theme which, of course, Praveenji wanted to talk about, that how this industry is modernizing. This is a traditional old industry, which is perhaps called the grandfather of most of the chemical industry. But there are a lot of things which are happening in this industry. One is, of course, the capturing benefit of adjacencies. Now, companies who are traditionally in caustic soda going deeper into the downstream and creating a new business platforms through chlorine and hydrochloric acid. Few of the examples I have taken before. Second is we are talking about platform into new basket. Now, post-COVID, there is a huge focus on sanitization, water treatment, and disinfectant. Half of those base product which goes into these segments as a raw material are actually coming from caustic soda industry. So I won't be surprised in 5 years down the line if you have 3-4 new water treatment companies in India coming from a chlor-alkali background, because that's where the raw material lies. The other element, what we are looking at, existing market presence. There's a lot of scope for the forward integration in this industry. Elements like agrochemical, elements like pulp and paper. As you go towards the greening, you would see a lot of bulk chemical producer may go into the end user chemistries. Last but not the least, setting up a platform where you actually can target your customer on a direct sale basis. You can also partner with your technology supplier. One of the partnership which is now under discussion is to make membranes in India. Now, membrane is the heart of a chlor-alkali system. And it's a very expensive stuff. It has to be replaced in every 4 years. If you have that capability to start making those membranes in India, you will not only solve the problem of chlor-alkali ecosystem, you'll also create an in-house manufacturing hub for the green hydrogen as well. Now, government support, of course, this industry, like any other sub-segment of chemical industry, does rely on the government support. PLI, of course, is one of them. We are still talking about BIS standard. I mean, we are one of the lowest cost producer of caustic soda in the world, and our qualities are impeccable. India is the first country to shed off the mercury-based system of caustic soda and apply the latest technology. So BIS standard, we are applied for the caustic soda. Now we are going for the chlorine downstream as well. We're also looking at enhanced R&D ecosystem. As you go deeper into the solutions, you have to go for an enhanced R&D system in terms of developing the recipe for the products. And at last, we are looking for a policy support for green hydrogen. Chlor-alkali system co-produces hydrogen, which is almost of a zero cost. The moment you bring this hydrogen under the green purview through green energy, chances are you are already looking at a 1.6 billion nm cube of hydrogen produced free of cost every year. So instead of thinking 10 years down the head to do large capex, here is a hydrogen which is already available in your system. To conclude my presentation, actually, there are 4 or 5 themes which I feel this industry will adopt and is adopting, and I'm more of a certain this industry is no longer just a core bulk chemical industry. One is, of course, ESG will drive the agenda. This industry will not be a mere power guzzler in 5 to 7 years from now. There would be huge push to do the green power, either through group captive or through renewables. We are also looking at a bigger bets on chlorine downstream. What I mean, there would be an element of PVC. We all know Adani's investment which is coming in this area. Also, I foresee future investment into the isocyanates, which is MDIs and TDI, and India will no longer be import dependent on this. Hydrogen I talked about. This industry has capability of producing large scale hydrogen at a very cost effective way, and I think government has to look towards it. Of course, we are looking at a supply chain integration solution. India has become net exporter of caustic, and now we are exposed to the global vagaries in terms of supply price dynamics. Therefore, automation in this industry is very critical. At last, we are also looking at global expansion. We are 6.5 million tons now, close to 7% of the global capacity. In next 5 years, we would be 10% of the global capacity. There is already a push to set up factories closest to customer. We are looking at Middle East, we are looking at Southeast Asia, where actually the market lies and you will have a freight advantages. This industry has actually become truly global in last 5 years. And next 5 years, the scale and size of this industry would be perhaps the second largest after the petchem and the refinery. And therefore, at least coming from this industry, I'm very bullish about the future. Thank you. Thank you so much for your patience later. Really appreciate it.